I will get this eventually. Thank you. There's so many steps, you know what I'm saying? I'm not technical, but thank you for the looking out, besties. I will get this eventually. Oh, good God. There we go. We'll just cut that unpleasantness out. All right, here we go. Hey Pam, how you doing? All right. Okay, so we have sound, we have visual, we're in the right place. We got this, besties. We got it. Okay, let me show you the cards. So we've done this one before, but like a long time ago, like a year ago. We're going to be doing this with scraps today. We're going to be making one of these and one of these and one of these. So very simple designs. Hopefully you've grabbed the items I asked you to prep and grab, but if you haven't, don't worry. We're going to go slow and you can always watch, just watch it a time through and then go back, watch the replay where you can stop and start and all that stuff. So no worries, no stress, right? My plan for this class was for us to take all those little bits and pieces out of our scrap bin. So who has a scrap bin that's like I named her Bertha, okay? Big Bertha. I got her at the Dollar Tree. She holds a lot. She is a big girthy girl like myself, right? And we're not going to talk about how much is in here, besties. There's no judgment here. It's a no judgment zone, okay? But there's a lot. There's a lot. It's good paper, and I'm not wasting it. So today we're going to dive into that and we're going to use it, right? And this will give you 4 different designs that you can do over and over and over again. It'll work for any occasion card. It'll work for any pattern, anything you want, any time of year. It doesn't matter. They're just 4 solid designs that you can do anytime your bin gets a little bit girthy. You know what I'm saying? So who remembers? Oh, I'm already messing stuff up over here. Who remembers the bingo that we did a while back? If you did a buy-in, I sent you those packets with the little sample pages. Do you remember that? I'm going to be using a lot of that to create my cards today. So you may have that on hand and then you could use it. So something I sent everybody a big stack, thick stack of papers, right? Different designs, whatever. I pre-grabbed some things that kind of, some of them coordinate, some of them are wildly not coordinating, but I liked it. I thought it went, so I just went with it, right? Um, Let me flip down. We'll get started. Hi, Pam. C-Mace, how you doing? Hi, Deborah. How you doing? Okay. All right, good. So I think we have enough people on. We're just going to get started. Here we go. Wish me luck. All right, and we're down to the mat. Let me get myself together here. So we'll do a close-up of these cards. Now, when you're doing your scraps, I kind of did like a rainbow and eclectic for most of them. For this card, I took my piece of DSP and I just used the back side because they coordinated, right? So that's how we're going to do that one. But we're going to start off, I think, with this card. So before we get right into it, let me show you a few things that I've pulled. I grabbed my bow punch for one of the cards. If you don't have this, maybe you have some sort of foliage or something in a die or a punch that you could substitute. If not, you can leave this part off. because that was for this card. I just wanted something a little bit more on there. But you could totally omit that and it would still be a pretty card. So that was one thing. I'm going to be using a what is this? A 1.5 inch punch for one of them. Actually, I think it's the bigger one. I think I grabbed the wrong one. It doesn't matter. The whole point is if you have some circle punches or those circle dies, I'll use these to do the same thing. It's no big deal. That was good to grab. Then I have a label punch and a tag punch, you know, whatever you have to make your focal points on your cards, just you're going to want to grab. And then I have the basic border dies here. And that was for, grab it, this card right here. We're going to cut that paper. So it's kind of like an earthquake card. If you don't have either dies that will do something like that, doesn't have to be bric-a-brac, you know, it could be whatever you want. You can just simply tear the paper down the middle and then separate it. So if you don't have something like this, again, don't panic. There's always a way around it. And then the last thing is some stamp sets. I grabbed 3 beautiful butterflies because I wanted this hello specifically. Tags of thanks. I like some of the sayings. And then the circle sayings dies because I wanted the warm hello for the one card and I used a couple of the other ones. If you don't have these, just whatever you got. And also, you may want to save your stamping until you know what the card is for. You know, if you're like, gee, I have a lot of birthdays coming up, mine I want to be birthday cards, perfect. Grab a happy birthday. It's whatever you're wanting your cards to be for. If you have Christmas paper, you may be putting like Merry Christmas on there or something. So it just depends on what paper you are working with. Okie dokie. Let me grab the first stack. So it's a green card base. It's this one right. Okay. Okay. First thing for this card, A2 card base. It can be in a coordinating color with whatever you're working with. Okay. So it just depends on what DSP you're going to be working with as to what color you're going to choose for your card base. Now I asked you to cut 5 of these. So one for the insert, one for the front cover. So we're going to be using 2 of those. And then I asked you to cut a piece of white cardstock at 5.5 by 3 inches. Now it's a little bit bigger than what I used here. I had trimmed it down and we are going to be trimming it. But basically we're going to be using this piece. We're going to be layering our DSP onto it. We'll trim it down and then we're going to punch or die cut, depending on what you have. Okay. Now I will try. Hi, Cheryl. Glad you made it. I will try to monitor the chat the best I can in case you have questions, but I will definitely go back after the live and read through everything. So if I've missed it, I will get in there and answer it afterwards. Okay? All right, so let me put this over here so you just see it. Now, or wait, we got to get our paper trimmer out. That's the next thing. So I've got the paper trimmer, and you're going to take whatever designer series paper you would like to work with to make your strips. And like I said, I'm grabbing that stack. And for this card, I liked 1/4 of an inch skinny strips. So you're just going to take it, and these are longer. Make sure that they're 5.5 inches at least. Like these are pieces or 6 inches, but just make sure it's 5.5 inches long, and then we're going to make the 1/4 of an inch strips. And you want, and you can make them a little bigger. If you want them a little bit bigger than 1/4, that's fine. You want a good, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I had about 8. You want about 8 to 10. I want to check something real quick. Just checking myself. It's always a good thing. Yeah, 1/4 of an inch. I got nervous. I thought maybe I was wrong. I'm never wrong, right? Okay, here we go. So start cutting those and putting them to the side. And I'm more going for the patterns on them. Now, when you get done with these cards, I definitely want to see them because your cards will not look like mine, I guarantee it, because the materials will be different. That one's kind of light. I'm going to wait on that. Let's do another pink one. So how is everybody doing? Are you having a good weekend? Is it beautiful weather where you're at? What's happening? We're pretty nice here. Sunny and beautiful as always. Okay, so I have some pink, I have some yellow, I definitely want some green. I'm just kind of doing a non-traditional rainbowing, if that makes sense. Now, if I was doing a Christmas card, you know, I might be doing red, white, and green. Depends on what you're doing. You could also use, what am I trying to say? You could also use I think I'm going to use that, a cardstock, right? So if you have a lot of like trim off pieces when you've cut your mats and things like that, you could use them for this technique for sure. For sure. So just see what you got. Sorry, I'm flipping through some of my DSP real quick. Would also look pretty if you had some specialty paper. You could put that in there too. Actually looking for some like light blue. Okay. I have a stack of colors here. That might be pretty. I would think you guys would be doing the same thing. Kind of going through your stuff. Okay, I'm gonna use that piece. This is what I'm saying. Never waste your paper. We pay a lot of money for it. You just got to get creative with the little bits. That's all. Okay, that should be enough to get started with. But I can always cut more if I need them. Okay, so I'm going to be taking, I have so much stuff on my desk between the materials that we're using and then the all the filming equipment and everything, computer and blah blah blah. It's a lot. So I'm just kind of shuffling through. I'm gonna take a sip real quick and I'm just gonna make sure, is everybody doing good? Um, ooh, a horse show, Debbie. That's awesome. Welcome in, by the way. Okay, I'm going to move on. Now, for this next step, you could do any kind of adhesive that you are comfortable with. I have besties that do not like liquid glue. Karen. She like loves her dry adhesive, her tape runner. You could totally use that. I like liquid glue. The reason being, it gives me some wiggle room. Okay? So we all know I I I have to adjust things. So I'm just gonna put down some liquid glue. I'm not putting like a ton. It's very, it's all over it, but it's just like pushing it around on the paper. Now we are going to start building our rainbow page. It's okay if it overlaps. It's better that it goes over because we're going to trim this paper than if it doesn't. You know what I mean? If it's short, you might see it because we're not going to trim that much off, is what I'm trying to tell you. And it's also easier to hold the ends of the strips and not get your fingers in the glue. Okay, so we're just building a rainbow here, guys. And this is the fun part. Now, if you were doing these cards, you could cut a whole bunch of paper or take those little bits that you already have and totally do a bunch of these pages first and then create your cards. You know what I mean? Like kind of do a batch of them rather than a single. Might be a great idea. You could also, if you had short pieces, kind of do like a start one when it ends, put the next one, do like a wood grain pattern or, I don't know what you'd call that. It's not really wood grain, but you know what I mean? Like laying tile. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't make me think and spell it out, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect either. Just have fun with it. I promise it's going to look good. All right. Do I have another piece? Did I really only cut one of those blue? No, I think this is it. Ha. There we go. Um, And I'm just kind of repeating the pattern again. Pink. And then orange. And we'll finish up, if I have it, with a green. Pink, pink, green. I thought I did cut 3 of those. Yes, I did. Love it when a plan comes together. Okay, there we go. Kind of just push them. I took my time. There we go. And I had some extra, no big deal. Put those for another card. Now I'm just going to take my bone folder and lightly kind of smush the glue under there, press it out. Okay, now we've got our panel. I'm going to bring that paper trimmer back in. Now this is 5.5 inches, which is the full length of your card base. Okay, but we want kind of like a nice border layered look, if you will. So I'm going to cut the edge off with the fringes. I'm going to cut a quarter off first. So a quarter of the paper and whatever overhang you have going on. Okay. Get all the little pieces off. All right. Now we're going to come over on this side and I want, let's see, so it was 5.5. We took a quarter off. So I'm going to make it 5 inches long. So there's our front panel for the card. Now, when I first did this, you can see I cut quite a bit off the side. I'm going to try it with, I'm going to go grab a bigger punch. I want to do a bigger circle and we're going to play with it. So we're just going to see. You might want to make it skinnier like I have in my example. But just for funsies, let's see what we can do with the 3-inch side. Just grabbing 2 more punches, but you can use your graduated dies. This part's up to you, okay? I'm gonna see. You're gonna punch it halfway. So I think, do I want the bigger one or do I want the 7/8 still? I'm going for the bigger one. This could be a complete disaster. But you don't know unless you know. You know what I mean? Now, so that I know where the middle is, I'm using the underside of my punch. If you have a Stampin' Up! Punch, you have this great cross. So I'm going to slide it in and let that edge hit on the middle of that circle. Now, pay attention that you're in the middle of your card before you punch. Okay, there we go. We've got our rainbow. Oh, and I'm using the 2 3/8 inch circle, just in case you're wondering. Now we're going to take the front of our card first. And let's see. Because I'm using the bigger one, I still think it looks better trimmed up. What do you think? Let me see some. Oh my gosh, don't laugh. I'm recreating what I did here anyway. Oh my goodness. You guys love me, don't you? All right, I am going to trim it. I think it looks better like this. I don't know why I fight the process every time. I fight it. I go, no, no, I'm going to be different. And every time I end up doing it the same. That is just too funny. I guess that's just who I am, right? Okay, so we're going to trim it down to 2 inches. But if you like it longer, you could totally do that. Now, I'm thinking we use this for the inside of our card so that we're not wasting. Okay. Okay, now let's get this thing done. Now that I figured out my life. Thanks for being patient with me, besties. Oh my goodness. Okay. So just a little liquid glue. You could pop this up if you wanted. Try to make it straight and framed up top like that. Okay. Now, we're going to do that. But before I put this piece down, I want to stamp. So I'm going to grab the warm hello because it just reminded me of like a sunset, sunshine, something, you know, sunrise, something. You know, I was feeling the sun vibe is what I'm trying to tell you. Okay. Put that right in there. Boom, baby. Woo, we got this. I'm going to put this down. Now, you could do this with a different shape if you wanted. You could also orient the card long ways, right? That would look cool too. But because of the sentiment I'm using, I wanted it sideways. You could also put a banner over that or a sentiment down here. You know, there's a lot of possibilities. I'm just showing you the basic technique and a very simple card design. Usually, what I like to do with stuff like this is do the example first or do the basic version first, right? And then go back and modify. I also do this with recipes, oddly enough. When I first cook a recipe, I always do exactly try to right to the whatever it tells me. And then once I've made it once and I know what it's supposed to be, then I feel more confident to like put my own personal spin on things, change things. I'm kind of that way with card making too. So if we think of this as a recipe, the measurements are our ingredients, you know, the items we use. And then, you know, the world is your oyster. Now I'm going to leave this as a note card and I'm just going to glue that. I'm going to center it and glue it down. if we had thought about this before we trim the sides, we could have trimmed the inch off for the inside and then trim the sides for the front panel. But I'm not fussed. I still think it's nice. Okay, so now I'll just glue that in and then we'll gem it up. Okay, there we go. Now, I have a, if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. I have just a sleeve of mismatched gems. Does anyone else do this? I don't know. When I'm preparing for classes or when I would do the packets, I would have to cut up, so everybody would get a little bit. And then I would end up with little bits and pieces. So I just kind of stored all those little pieces in one spot for easy access. And so they wouldn't get lost in the shuffle, basically. Let me grab my pan pick. Um, oh, come on. So that is what I am using today for my bling. Just what is in my little bag of tricks, I guess. But I think these go, right? It's working. I'm feeling it. There we go. All right, so there's our first card done. How is everybody doing? Are you still working on it? Are you going to do it later? Do you have any questions? That's what I need to know. Yeah, I think that's pretty common, Sherry. I just that's the way I approach things now. It's funny. Um, and it works, dang it. But I would never be like one of those adventurous bakers or whatever that could just change a recipe before I've made it. I couldn't. I just couldn't do it. I'd be like, oh no, it's gonna blow up or something. So this is what I had left, these little tidbit pieces, and I'm okay to let that go. And that's more DSP that we used up, right? Now I'm sure if you were really, really good, you could find a use for them, but I'm okay to let that part go. Okay, so there's our first card done. Seems like everybody's good and they're working, so I'm just going to move on if that's okay. Let me see what the next card is. Okay. All right. We're going to work with this card now. Basic A2 card base. Again, I made all of them the same because really the point is to use up DSP. I didn't want us to also have to worry about complicated cuts or fancy folds or anything like that. So very, very basic. You are going to use one of those 5.5 by, or 5.25 by 4 panels that I had you cut to prep. And you're going to need some coordinating scrap paper for the focal point tag. Okay. So we're going to put these aside. And again, we're going to be repeating the process of cutting some DSP. And 3 of the 4 cards we're doing today are all strips. So that makes it very easy. The thing I did with this card was I made different size strips. I did this intentionally because we end up with strips of paper left over all the time when we're working because we're trimming off those edges to fit whatever card design we're doing. And so I wanted something where it didn't matter, you could use it, okay? I gave you a big panel that is going to be adhered, popped up and adhered to the back of your card base. You certainly do not have to cover the entire panel in DSP. So if you have shorter pieces, this is a card you could use those with. Pick whatever side you're going to put your hole in your cover, and then you line up your strips of paper on where it's going to be showing. If you have a smaller area or you're going to use a smaller die, you don't have to cover as much. So it just depends on what you're doing. But I am going to use my Spotlight on Nature circle dies, and this is, let me grab my trimmer for the ruler. It's about three and a quarter inches on mine. Now, if you don't have this, but you do have the large punch, well, then that's the window you're going to be working with. Okay, it just depends on what you're using. And if you don't have a circle, but you have a square, adjust accordingly. So that's what I'm telling you on that. Now, another thing to kind of fancy up this card. Now, I'm keeping mine simple because we're just doing the basics to teach. But if you wanted to be step up your card a little bit, this would look really pretty if you threw it through the embosser with a folder. So the plain cover would be embossed with texture, and then you'd have the window peeking through with whatever DSP you chose. You see what I mean? So these are just tips to elevate your design. Is what I'm telling you. So I'm pulling my paper trimmer back out again. Now we have 2 strips that we can certainly use left over. If you have any strips, you can use them on this project. Okay. And I'm going to be using the same paper over and over again just because I don't want to take a lot of time thumbing through. That could be boring, right? So I do, when I do these techniques, use other papers. I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know. I'm just telling you something. Oh my goodness. And I'm just going to cut more strips. About the same, like 8 to 10 would be good. But since I'm doing other widths, I may not need all of these. But that's okay. This would be a great card to use with your leftover card stock as well. You don't need a pattern on it. You know what I mean? Like if you just had, let's say you had in color paper, just laying around that kind of coordinates together, that would be great to use. Just trying to give you as many ideas to get your creativity going. All right, I think I should be good on my strips. And now we're going to repeat what we did on the last card, which is gluing our strips down on our paper. So when you're ready for that, you can just go ahead and get started. Okay. I feel good about it. I feel like I have enough, but you can always make more. Here we go. I'll put this out. Now I went like crazy with my patterns. I'm not mad at it though. Now on this one, I am going to kind of make a plan before I glue them down. And that's just good practice, I feel like. Maybe a pink one down here. Green. Oh my God. A yellow. And some of this you may not even see, but I feel like if I don't go all the way to the top, calamity. You know what I'm saying? Something's going to happen and then you're going to see it and it's going to be all weird and we're going to have to ignore it and not talk about it because that's what I do. All right. Okay. I think this is going to be fine. So what I did was half inch strip, quarter, quarter, half inch, quarter, quarter, half inch. I made kind of like a pattern with my strips. In case you was wondering. Just some kind of cohesion, you know. I'm going to slide these off to the side. Okay. Go. So, um, tomorrow I am going to be diving headfirst into product shares and finishing up Blender Club. So those will be getting mailed off next week for my Blender besties. I'm very excited for you guys to see my blenders. And I am excited. I don't know. I'm getting in the holiday spirit. I have to say. I wasn't, which is unlike me for a bit, but I'm feeling the itch now. The fall itch is here. I'm getting more like myself. I don't know. I think I was going through a moment. Who knows? You know, sometimes life just gets to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I was in my own head or something. Okay, I'm just going to trim the edges just like we've done. I'm not going to trim the paper. We're going to keep that. So you are going to have your little pieces. But yeah, I am feeling it. I'm getting excited. I feel like I'm getting caught up on everything, my work, and we're going to move into the new holiday season with love in our heart and cheer and a little bit of spooky. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit thrown in for funsies. So I was so excited. You know how they have like Hulu and Netflix and all those paid channels? They now have one called Paraflix, which is paranormal TV. So it's like paranormal investigations and stuff like that, which you know is right up my alley. So we got that, and now I've been watching a whole bunch of new um, spooky content, I guess you would say. Very, I think that's what's helping me. You know what I'm saying? It seems dramatic, guys, but I'm telling you, that's what I need in my life. Yeah, I am totally keeping the fall stuff up. But normally I have it all August, September, October, and November. I know it's excessive, but it's where my happy place is. So what are you gonna do? But this year I don't know. I don't know what happened. What are we doing? Maybe it's the menopause. Who knows? Blame my husband, right? No, I really don't know. I think I just got overworked, a little stressed, and like, it happens. Life. But that's why I have you guys, because you keep me company, you cheer me up. Oh my gosh. There's anyone else? I need to get new plates from my die cutter because I need them just for white cardstock. When I use the other colors and then I put the white through, I get all these weird things on my white. It's very annoying. Anyone have any tips for how to avoid that? Mm. And it's not like I use glue through there. What is that? Okay, there we go. Give it a good crease down. Now this is what I did to set my paper. Make sure it's, oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me crazy. All right, we're gonna pretend that's not there. Put your paper like a frame inside your card. Then I'm gonna take some Stampin' Dimensionals or foam tape, whatever you use is fine. I'm gonna use the outside because I want a lot. And I'm just kind of like if I was making this a shaker card, but it's not. See what I mean? Just putting it on there. And yes, it is excessive, but what are you going to do? I don't want to put a thick piece there because I want it to close a little bit, right? Nobody's going to see the dimensionals, so it doesn't matter if they're a hot mess. Just stick them down. Okay, so now that I've got dimensionals or foam tape, whatever you're working with, you're going to just frame that like this and then close it and give it a good press down. Voila. Done. Okay. So that's how I did it. You do you. Give it a good. It is a thicker card like a shaker. So it pops up a little bit. I'm not mad at it. You could just glue it straight down. You don't have to do what I did, but I liked that little bit of a pop-up on it. I thought it looked good. So that's what I did. All right, so now I'm going to grab my punches, and I have some Scrap-A-Doonie paper, and we're just going to punch. So coordinate with whatever you used in your strips. And then I have my bow punch. Get the example so you can see what I'm thinking here, what I'm working with. Now for this one, I just used white paper because this was so busy. But I want to try, I think, the colored paper. We'll just see. If I hate it, we'll move on. We won't talk about it. We just won't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are in your craft room, nobody's watching you. So if you make it look weird, nobody's gonna know. Jeez. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm kind of digging that. What do you think? I like it. We're going with that. But like I said, you can leave this part off. And if you have, a different die set that has leaves, go for it, friend. Just play with your paper and your stuff. And I like these kind of popping. So I'm just gonna glue the stems and kind of let them live, you know what I'm saying? Let them do their thing. Okay. Now, I just did a little offset moment with the tags. I want to see something. I think I'm going to put it up here. Yeah, because it's kind of matchy-matchy. I should have paid attention to that because I could have flipped this paper. Or maybe I want it like this. I'll put it in the middle. We'll break the difference, okay? Okay, guys. All right, so let me find Because You Are Awesome. Right there. It's in the circle sayings, in case you were wondering. So I'm thinking about next month's card class. We'll be doing this format again. And I want to focus this time on a technique. Like this one, we're using up our scrap paper. So I want to do a technique class for next month. So my challenge to you all is some suggestions. Are there any techniques that you would like to do or you think would be cool as a class? And that could be anything like what I did if you caught yesterday's live where we used the blender pens. We could do things with embossing folders. We could do, blender pens. It's whatever you want. Or I'm trying to think, maybe a special fun fold design. You think about it and send me a message and let me know, like, hey Jess, I would love to see this. And if it doesn't get chosen for next month, doesn't mean it won't get chosen in the future, right? So I would love your ideas and suggestions. I'm going to stick that down like that. Now, the inside is just going to be a little note card. I put sending you a smile. I use that same Circle Sayings stamp set. I'm going to stamp it right inside my card base because I used white. If you used a colored card base, go ahead and cut out a 5¼ by 4" white panel for the inside. Okay. And I'm just going to take some of these extra strips and I'm going to glue them in the inside of my card. And I'll give them a little haircut in a minute. Let's see, what else do I got? That one, sure do. Sure do. Okay. Very little waste. There we go. Okay. So I'll stamp it later, but there's the inside of the card. I start out very organized, and as we get crafting, it just kind of gets crazy. I apologize. Like I even taped down the mat and it's moving all over the place. What are you gonna do? Okay. Last thing to do is just pull out a little bling. And for this, because we have so many colors and things going on, I just thought something very simple. Some little diamonds would work. Having a search for them. Okay, let's see. Over here. And that one over here. Okay. There is our second card done, guys. Hey, Sherry, I didn't even read that, and look, we did it. Hey, Sandy, welcome in. How are you? Okay. Great minds think alike is what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling you. All right, so 2 cards done. It's not too bad, right? Okay, next we're going to do the pinwheel card. Now this one looks complicated, but I feel like it's super simple. And it's the only one that we're not using strips for. I will try to get that as straight as possible. There we go. Tape down, guys. Okay, so let me show you how to do this. This is probably the easiest card of them all, but it's impressive, if I don't say so myself. Okay, so you're going to have your A2 card base in the color that coordinates with your DSP. Just put that to the side for a minute. You're going to have 2 panels of the 5¼ by 4 white that I asked you to cut. And now here's one thing I didn't ask you to cut. You need 2 squares of coordinating cardstock. So like I'm using red, white, and black as my card color combo, but whatever you got going on, you could use the same color card base for these two squares, but you're going to want to cut them at 2 and 5/8. Okay, so just to make sure, you go to the 2 inch and then you count 5/8, which is every second dash from the two. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you get there. Okay. And then you would cut that and turn your paper and do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5/8. All right, so you're going to need two of those 2 and 5/8 inch squares. Put those to the side, and now you're going to grab some DSP. And you need to cut 1 1/4 inch squares. You need 8 of them. Okay, so 1 1/4 inch. Now I made it really easy, and you might want to do this too. I'm using the same, you need two different designs for this technique. I'm just using this side and this side, right? So I'm cutting the same piece of paper 8 times, but it's going to work. So now we're just going to cut our squares. 1, 2, and that's 1 1/4 inch. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so now we have all our pieces cut for the card. First thing I want you to do is take those 2 and 5/8 inch squares, and I want you to stack them on top of each other. So put one square and then one a diamond as evenly and in the middle as you can. Okay? And you're just going to tack that down with some glue or adhesive. A little bit of glue. And we're making our form, and this is what makes this card so easy. Okay, just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect, you know. There you go. So now we have a Star of David. Now we're going to take our pieces. The first square you start with, I want you to put glue on 1/2 of it only, like that. 1/2 of the square. And then with the glue, you're gonna orient it into a diamond, and the glue should be on the right half of the diamond. I want you to put it in that top corner of the Star of David. Like that. Now you're going to take your next piece, and you can put glue all over it. But you want the opposite side of the paper. And you're just going to follow the outline, the form, and keep the corner point always in the center of the form. See? So now I'm going to have another white one. And you're just going to repeat. And it goes really quickly. So stick it in the form, bottom point to the corner. And just, keep flipping the paper so it's oriented, um, top, bottom, like that. See how easy and quick this goes? The only trick is when you glue that first piece, you only put the glue on half so that you can tuck your last flap under, and that makes it cohesive. And then kind of look at the way your pattern is going, if you have a pattern on your paper. This, I don't think it matters too much, but usually when I get all done, I go, oh. Okay, so now we're going to shore up right there. Okay, okay. So now we're on the last part, and this is the tricky one. You can put glue on the whole thing, but you're going to need to tuck the bottom right flap underneath the first one we did. Okay? And you're going to kind of just wiggle it into place like that. So that's how you get the whole thing tucked. It's the only trick. And remember, we put 2 pieces of cardstock together to make the base. So if you're hanging up on something, it might be the top layer of cardstock. So just, peel this back a little bit so you can see what you're doing. Okay, now you can just take a little dot of glue and tack it down. And there we go. There's our pinwheel. What do you guys think? Isn't that pretty? I'm obsessed. Okay, so we've got the main part. This is the complicated part of this card. Now here is our top mat. You could throw in this through an embossing folder for sure. I'm doing mine simple. Now remember I said to grab some ribbon. I'm going to put a little piece of ribbon. If you didn't have ribbon, you could put a strip of paper or you could just leave this part off. That is up to you. And I told you about 8 inches, because if you wanted to, you could tie a bow. So it just depends on what you want to do there. Now I am just going to put a little liquid glue. But you guys use your tear and tape, or you use your tape runner, whatever you got. Ooh, stuck to my finger. Oh, come on. This is why tear and tape or dry adhesive is actually better, but I'm being lazy. Okay. Put a little bit here. All right. So I've got that down. I'm going to pop up my pinwheel, I think. If I can find what I did with the dimensionals. Oh, do, 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 do. All right. Oh, here. I always have extra. It's not a problem. So I'm just going to pop a few of these down. You could totally glue this flat. You don't have to pop it up. Okay. And then I'm just going to put it towards the top, centered. And I have the double oval hunch. You may or may not have this. Cut a little something to go here for your sentiment. Whatever you got. I'm looking for, okay, I'll use this. I'll use that. And then I use this scrap. Use that for later. Okay. Excuse me. I'm just going to take a quick drink. Better. So how's everybody doing? Do you have any questions about this one? I know I've done this style before, but it's definitely one that works for scrap paper because you only need small sections. So I felt like it was a good one to use. And then I am going to grab that fancy hello. Yeah. There we go. And I'm going to pop that up as well. So we're on the home stretch with this card. You like it, Tammy? I think it's really pretty. It's so easy though. Like when you look at it, you think, oh, that's, how did she do that? But it's our ancient Chinese secret. Don't be telling nobody. All right. So I want a dot in the middle. I'm just going to take a black dot. I don't know why. I just feel like it needs it, okay? Okay, besties. Here we go. And I had, oh, yeah, I still do. I was going to say I knew I had hearts, but Here they are. So I have some of those gold hearts, and I just thought, how cute. Like, we're just sending some love your way. You know what I'm saying? I love that for us. There we go. Kirby has been at these hearts because he loves my adhesive things. And so I'm trying to pull him off the backing, and it's like his little fine kitten hairs are just wound around. My gosh, he was such a turkey last night. He, ever since he was a baby, has taken to wanting to sleep like right on my neck. And so I try to like give him cuddles and stuff and then move him so that I can sleep. But he'll whine and cry until he gets back up there. And so last night, like for hours, he was just suffocating me with his love. I was like, buddy, I need to breathe. I'm going to cut a little strip just for the inside of my card since we're doing this here. I guess those are the kind of problems you want, though. You know what I mean? In the grand scheme of things, it's not that big of a deal. It's nice to be loved, but it would be nice to breathe too. He's so vocal. I ask him all the time who taught him to talk. Oh, oh, that's upside down. Okay, let's get this card together. And then we have one more. Okay, so there's our next card done. Now, I did not make pictorials, I guess you would call them, for these cards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make computer sketches of them. So you'll have like the outline, the template, and then the written instruction on the side. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll post those probably tomorrow. That'll be our Sunday sketch. So this is our last card. And you literally need a card base. If it's a light color, you don't need the card insert. If it's a darker color card base, you're going to want the white insert of 5¼ by 4. But I don't need it for this one because I have a white base. Okay, so you need the card base, and then you need a 5½ by 3 sheet of cardstock. And it really could be a scrap. It could be any color. Um, you will not see this piece. I just cut mine in white because that's usually what we have a lot of. Okay. So now we're going back to the strips and just cut some pretty paper. And we're going to be doing the same thing we did on the other two cards, which is we're just going to be gluing the strips down. Now you could go long ways if you wanted. For a little bit different look, I like them horizontal. And you don't need as long of strips because this is only 3 inches wide. So I'm going to cut 3 inches, and then I'm going to do them a little bit thicker. I'm going to do a 1/2 inch or 3/4. No, I'm going to do 3/4. I'm going to make a chunky thing, but it doesn't matter. You could do you could do different sizes, you could do the same. That's just whatever your design, whatever you're wanting. You can also do what we did on the last card, which is just flip the paper and repeat the pattern. Okay, so it's whatever you want. I'm going kind of bold. So all my strips are going to be 3 inches by 3 1/4 inch. This purple, I think. So is anyone doing anything special for Labor Day? Are you having a barbecue? Are you just sitting back and relaxing? What are you doing? We're going to be doing family time, and mom's coming over. She's going to help me pull out Halloween stuff and get my decorating going. So you know I am excited. Okay, what else do we got? Kind of flipping through. Do we want some? Yeah, we'll do some of that. I have purple. Ooh, how about this yellow? Okay. So you're chomping through, let's see, we're doing this sideways, so keep my pattern so it makes sense, right? I did the blue. I don't know if I'm going to want this or not, but oh, that's funny. Okay, that should be enough to get going on with. Let's see what we got. Now we're going to be doing this lengthways on this card. You could certainly turn it if you wanted. So that's up to you. It's whatever way you want to orient your card. But for this card, I'm going to go portrait. And we will see every layer. I don't know if I'm loving the red. Let me leave the red off for a minute. This is the hardest part, is like choosing what I want. or what looks decent together, you know? Like there's some purple and yellow in that blue. So it makes sense to me have some purple with it. No black. And then we have green and yellow. So the green and yellow, and the orange goes. What do we have on the back? And a yellow up here. Okay. So I'm going to put one more piece. Black on the end. Yeah. Kind of crazy, right? I can hear you. I can hear your thoughts through that. I'm going to just stick that on the bottom. Kind of not loving that either. Okay. Where was that other piece? Okay. All right, this is what I'm going to do because that's just going to be a sliver. And we'll bring some black up here. Okay. It makes sense to me. We're good. Ooh, who would have thought that was the hardest part of the card? Okay. So now try not to undo what we just painstakingly did. Okay. Probably should have put the yellow there. Do you ever have sporadic song just like pop up in your head for no reason? I'm just sitting here and in my little brain of brains, it's like looking for love and all the. We don't know why. We don't know who hit play. It just happened. Very strange, very odd. We're not going to talk about it. Oh my God. I couldn't make this stuff up. It's not like that's a current song. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like something that I recently heard somewhere, unless I heard it and didn't realize I heard it. But it could be casino music, I guess. Okay. Done, done, done. Now I don't have to trim the sides, but I am going to trim that bottom piece off. Wonderful. Okay. That was the hardest part of the card right there. And that part's done. Okay, so we have this. Oh, crap, doodle. You know what we did, guys? I apologize. This is my fault. We were supposed to glue this right on to the card base because this is our front panel. I don't know why I just spaced it. It's fine. One little faux pas in a whole class. I don't think that's so bad. Go ahead and grab your paper trimmers and a piece of white cardstock. And we're going to cut 5.5 by 3 inches again. I need a piece of thick white for this. Now yours doesn't have to be white. If you want to change it, now would obviously be the time. But whatever color you choose, that's going to be the main card front. So that's what I'm telling you. Okay. Sorry. 3 inches by 5.5. So 5.5 by 3. Now we're going to grab whatever you're going to use to cut this, whether that's your border die or maybe a fancy scissor, you know, whatever you plan to use for that. You're going to grab that now. I've moved things. Okay. So I'm going to use my basic border dies. This one that looks like bric-a-brac. And I'm going to cut mine a little bit to one side, not directly in the middle. Try to make it straight. If you're using scissors, just cut straight up. And you might want to use a different design, you know, whatever you got. You could use the fancy border dies if you have that. It'll really work with anything. If you have nothing, go ahead and tear the paper long ways up. Okay. Pieces. Get this out of the way. Ooh. All right. So now we have our card front. Sorry. I really miss my glass mat. The reason I'm not using it is the glare is unreal. So we're back to the paper. Okay. Try to clean this up a bit. Okay, now we have all our pieces. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on the bottom left-hand corner of what we just cut. I'm just going to put smile. Just something cute. You know, these are my bestie cards, so love to send smiles. There we go. Okay, now we're going to take our panel, we're going to glue it down. If you make this again, if you're, you know, if you like this pattern and you're going to recreate this, you can save the paper and just glue these strips right down to your card base. I apologize for that. It's not going to matter though, because I'm going to pop it up a little bit, the top panels, so it's fine. It's just a paper save, really. I'm using the outside. Waste not, want not, right? There we go. Put one there. And now we're going to put the other one and just line them up. See that? So pretty. Now on the inside, mine's a note card. You could decorate it for sure. I'm going to put some gems, but that is the basic design of this card. How easy is that? But it's so pretty, I think. I'm just going to use some of those in color gems. So I have a good little bit of them. I'm just going to pop them around. I think it's cute. I have one. No, I have a couple. I'm going to keep them close to there. All right, what do we think? Cute? So sound off in the comments. Which one was your favorite of the designs? Are you going to try these? Did you learn something today or find this class helpful? If you did, please recommend it to a friend. Okay, let me get over here. See if we can. Okay, we're back, guys. How long was that? Okay, not too bad. About an hour and 40 minutes by the time we got started, and um, it was probably more like an hour and 30. That's not bad for 4 cards from start to finish. What do we think? Oh, that's funny. Okay, so I'm in good company. Tammy, I really feel like we're kindred spirits. I really do. I feel like in another timeline, we were like sisters or something, I swear. It does not surprise me that that happened to you. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, I don't know why. All of a sudden, it just came into my head, and I was like, okay, hello, 70s. What's happening? I don't know. Nobody knows. That's so funny. Oh my goodness. All right. Good. I'm glad you love it. And for everybody that hung out with me this whole time, you guys are amazing. I love you. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the comments.